I want to kind of close out this idea of win-win by talking about win-win in the workplace, because it seems like, as we've just talked about, talking about unions and that kind of thing, it seems like workplace dynamics. At first, when I first read this chapter, I was thinking, I don't really know that this is necessarily like for maybe a leader to know, like, hey, think about win-win solutions for your employees as well. But now I see that it's absolutely about that as well. Um, can you talk a little bit about like how how could others leaders build win-win into the company culture
There's so internally in a company, the way you build
internally in a
win-win
company?
in
Yeah.
is by, yeah, you look at win-win from the perspective of saying, if everybody in on this team here excels, it's going to make a rocket ship out of the company. That requires you to have a complementary view of the team, to say, what are your strengths? What are your talents? What are your opportunities? What are mine? Starting to put teams together to complement each other around. It's almost like you circle the wagon in a sense of strength and weaknesses. You cover for my weakness, I cover for your weakness, and together this is where the team becomes more than the sum of its parts, right? That is based on the win-win complementary mindset, but it means that you start to change your vocabulary, that you start to take an abundance mindset, to actually understand that everybody has something to contribute. And if we just find the right place for each one of us to contribute in a company, that we can actually become that our team spirit, our teamwork can become the competitive advantage of our company.
Mm.
I think that's a fundamental, it sounds simple, but it's very difficult and fundamental change in how we approach work and our workforce, which is usually transactional, right? You do this for
Yeah.
me, then I'll do that for you. Here it is the approach of saying, and I heard people talk about this at Art's funeral at the event afterwards. There were employees there who said that he would come in and say, "It is my goal to make you successful beyond your own beliefs. Like I want to make you really help you become the best person, the best at this thing that you could possibly be. I'm a huge fan of yours." How do you react when your boss comes in and he approaches you like that, or she approaches you like that?
Yeah.
That is a fundamental change in how we talk with people. And words and ideas have consequences, and this idea of looking at your team in a win-win uh, mindset framework has serious consequences.
Yeah. Wow. That's an incredible that's an incredible line. Like, um, I'm a big fan of yours, to leave that. I mean, this kind of when we talked about um company culture and the impact that having that investing in the human person has, it almost seems like
Hmm.
this is just totally goes hand in hand with that, because it is about
Yeah,
investing in the potential for win-win solutions to exist at all times. It's almost like fertilizing a garden and watering it. It's that it's that you're creating this
yeah,
very fertile soil for all of your
yeah,
people to each think the same way that you're thinking. And so it's like you're all wanting your own, like each other's good. That's a wonderful picture.
yeah. And one of the things that really inspired me, because in a sense, I worked with Art for the last 2 years of
Hmm.
his life on this book, and I have hundreds of hours that I worked with him on this. And one of the things that I experienced myself, and I was able to ask him at the end, but one of the things I experienced is that I would write something and do some research or something and come back to him, and he would end up coming back to me and say, "Hey, I'm really starting to like this." And he did it so many times that I started to notice that he uses this term, "I'm really starting to like this." This is a win-win question. This is a win-win proposition. And it's such a loaded, positively loaded statement, because what he says in there is is deep. Because when you say, I'm really starting to like this, first of all, you're giving a compliment to say you have done well so far. You're also giving an expectation, in a sense. I know that you can do better because I believe in your excellence. Otherwise, I wouldn't talk with you. But you're also saying that this is not good enough yet.
Mm-hmm.
So this is this triangle of statement, expectation, and demand of excellence, that is so enabling of people to stretch for the goal, to
Yeah.
stretch for their own excellence.
Right.
At the end, like in the last month of his life, Art asked me to do his eulogy when he would pass away, and he gave me some time to think about it. And he didn't really say that he wanted to hear what I had to say, but I could tell that he was curious. So I actually got back to him and said, "Hey, Art, look, the one thing I'm going to do is definitely talk about this one sentence I characterize you by, and that is, um, I'm really starting to like this." And he started to laugh, And I said, "I know you've never talked about it, but you've used it with me all the time."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I explained to him this idea that I think it's such a pregnant sentence, a positive sentence, a win-win sentence. And he just smiled and he says, "Yeah, it's a good one, isn't it?"
That's really fun. That's so cool. Uh, I'm really starting to like this. So much better than you can do better, or I don't like it, or there's so many other things that you can say. It's like it's so well crafted, so well crafted. So okay,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
He was a. But should I say? I can
no, yeah,
say
go
one
ahead.
more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
For a long time, I was actually mostly impressed with Art's marketing abilities, because he was this guy who was able to brand a commodity. I mean, this is table wine. This is not French, high end or Barolo, Italian Barolo wine. This is table wine. And you can brand it in a way that you become the dominant player in the whole wine market. And so to me, that was like a marketing feat. That's why I first was interested in it. And then I started to talk with the people on his board. And I over time, interviewed, tens of people about this. And this guy, Mike Berolzheimer, who was one of his board members and himself a brilliant entrepreneur. I told him, Mike, I think I admire Art's genius in marketing. And he says, let me stop you there. He may be a good marketer, but there's a lot of other good marketing people. Where Art is unique is to find people's excellence and then encourage them like nobody else and bring out the best in people. He is the master of the win-win situation.
Hmm.
And that changed my view. This is one of the things I wanted to include, this concept also as one of the 5 concepts, because it's the pillar of a successful company, is to bring out, first of all, to create a win-win for the customer and for the company, and then to create the win-win for the team and for the company. And that is something where Art was an absolute genius at.
It really comes across whenever in the poignant work that you've done in the book to really kind of tell the stories, to pinpoint these ideas, and not just the idea itself, but what the seed the idea plants. So really great work. Really, really great work. And this section, I think this section is one that you can just keep coming back to again and again. So really enjoyed it. Thanks for taking the time to answer these questions.
Thank you. Thanks for asking.